Being Me stands for Muslimah Empowered. And our mission is to connect Muslim women and girls in faith to ignite change.
We just want to be the learning stepping stone for them to be able to fulfill their vision.
When we empower our women and children, we empower the community as a whole.
Janila mentioned this comment about how the issues are, she invented a brand new word, gigantosaurus.
And that's an important reminder that we have in Being Me, that what does this work for? We all want to go to Jannah. That's really the end goal.
I feel like half of growing up was honestly just like realizing that my parents were right about everything and that I was such an annoying child.
We're not here to convince people, right? We're just here to show you. They say this door is open, this door is open, and this door is open.
It's for us to think, what's the legacy that we're leaving behind? What is our legacy at the end of the day? Been there, done that, doesn't create legacy.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everybody. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. O Allah, we ask you for knowledge that benefits, a heart that is humble, and actions that are accepted by you. Guide our words, our intentions, our reflections, so they may bring benefit and unity to all who listen. Once again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to another episode of You Tell Me, a Canadian Muslim podcast. I'm your host, Khurram Rashid, and today we have a truly inspiring episode lined up for you. Inshallah, we're diving into the incredible work of Being Me Canada, an organization dedicated to empowering Muslim women, building stronger communities. We'll explore the challenges they're addressing, the lives they're impacting, and the programs that are transforming the community, whether it's breaking stigmas, engaging youth, or reconnecting with our history. Alhamdulillah. This conversation promises to inspire and uplift. Joining me are two phenomenal guests who are at the heart of this mission. First, we have Sister Naila Kibriya. I've known her many years, alhamdulillah. She's a very good family friend. She's a passionate advocate for empowering Muslim women and one of the founding members of Being Me Canada. Sister Naila has been involved with the organization since its very inception, helping to shape its vision and programs. With a background from the University of Toronto, Mississauga, she has spent years dedicating her time and energy to creating spaces where women can find confidence, growth, and a sense of community. Known for her warmth and insight, Sister Naila continues to touch lives through her work, often without even realizing the deep impact she's had. Wallahi, my wife will be a testament to that. She keeps saying how, Naila keeps calling me and she wants me to join this or attend this program or volunteer for that. And I keep not going. I feel so bad, but alhamdulillah, she continues to motivate her and all of us. And we really thank you for being here, Sister Naila.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Joining her, alhamdulillah, is Sister Faria Khan, a dynamic leader who serves as the operational manager for Being Me Canada and the chair of the Nisa Foundation. Faria plays a pivotal role in organizing and running many of the impactful programs that Being Me offers. Alhamdulillah, with a heart for service and a mind for strategy, she's been instrumental in ensuring the organization's vision comes to life. Her work bridges the gap between operational excellence and community engagement and dedication to supporting women and families. This just makes her a beloved figure in the community. I've heard claims from very unreliable sources, Naila, that have the GTA somehow related to her. I'm again going to put my wife in the hot seat. I'm sure she can give you a run for your money. I really want to figure out if there's some sort of a competition I can organize between the two of you. It should be a lot of fun. Alhamdulillah. Together, these two incredible women bring a wealth of experience, passion, and inspiration to today's conversation. Jazakallah khair for being here. Welcome, both of you.
Jazakallah khair for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited for conversation today. And I'm probably related directly or indirectly to a lot of people, mashallah. But I've actually found out more so through Being Me, actually. I'll say that much. But there's always a connection, alhamdulillah. I mean, that's the beauty of the world, right? That's the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation, that we can stay connected in some shape or form. So
Alhamdulillah, that's absolutely amazing. So actually, last year, Nuseba started a competition between my wife and I at RIS about who runs into more people. Right. Because I claim to be one of those people that that knows almost everybody around. But last 2 years, I'm pretty sure I've been the winner.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think I've been winning. She tends to spend more time per person.
Yeah.
Right. So the aggregate time she wins. However, the number of people, I think I've got the prize there. Yeah.
I think Naila runs into more people who know me than I even run into them much.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for being here. So let me start with just understanding what you guys are doing with Being Me. So what is Being Me? I guess, what does Being Me stand for? And how do those values shape everything that you guys are doing and continue to do?
Being Me starts, the me and Being Me stands for Muslimah Empowered. And our mission is to connect Muslim women and girls in faith to ignite change. And so what we know about being, Islam and being empowered, we are already empowered through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So this is an opportunity for our organization to create an avenue or a platform or a channel for women to be able to explore what empowerment actually means. And we have various programming, we have various streams for those programming that focus on different diverse topics in order to highlight community issues, trends, and just what the community needs overall, right? So when we empower our women and children, we empower the community as a whole, right? So ideally, Being Me is there to support and serve the community and be like a channel for being able to create more change and inspire and innovate and carry on our Islamic values.
Alhamdulillah. How did you guys even come up with the idea? Like, what is sort of the origin story, the backstory of how this organization came to be? From what I heard, there was this halaqah that was a family halaqah that we all used to attend at a brother's house initially. Then it went to the UIA Center with Sound Vision. We used to do that halaqah there. My wife claims that had something to do with it. I'm pretty sure she's just trying to grab credit one way or another.
So what happened was there's a group of people. Being Me was actually initially part of Mercy Mission. It was a Mercy Mission project. And there's a group of people who decided that it was important to have a platform by women for women to be able to have an area for them to be able to speak and to also have women presenters who can, grow and to be able to teach other people in a safe environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the idea came from. And you're not incorrect by saying a lot of the people who were part of the beginning phases were from that halakha area, just because, everybody who started up with Being Me, they were all Islamic workers and activists, and they were kind of tied in different areas, right? Whether they went to high school with them or university with them, and they were already working with a lot of different places. What was really nice is that the people who started up, they didn't even know each other. They came from different areas in different cities, but they all had one vision and goal, is to how to be able to promote and to bring the women of our, ummah closer to Allah, right?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. That's pretty amazing. I saw on your website, you guys have a lot of programs, and it was a pretty big list. I don't know if that represents an accurate list of everything that is being actively done, or is that sort of an aggregation of all the programs that have gone over the years? I'm curious, when you look at the community or an issue or a program that you may want to do, is there a process? How do you go about prioritizing what to focus on? Just because we know that there are so many needs of the community, particularly even and within women or within young women or whatever that niche might be that you are trying to focus on. Is there a process of that prioritization on what should get more attention and when?
Mashallah, Being Me is a big organization.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people. a lot of people behind the scenes, right? Every city, every community has a need and a focus, right? And the people who are working on it, every focus that's required is brought to attention by a specific person. So many ideas and needs of the community are taken care of at the same time through different people because of the hands that they have in that community.
It really also relies on the team connecting with the community, right? So when we're having events or we're holding programs or we're even just having a working session, we really need to understand what the community wants by talking and engaging and connecting with them, right? So we've had a program, but are we getting feedback from the community? Have we put out a survey? Have we spoken to our attendees while at the event, just getting their feedback and understanding what their needs are? Especially with our youth groups, like any programs related to youth, what you'll find is majority of our testimonials are coming from the youth themselves, which is great. But what's excellent is that parents will come to us and just say, hey, like our kids were fighting us to even like go to this event or attend this program. But actually they are now initiating wanting to sign up for events and come and attend your programs or whatever, participate in any campaign, right? So it really relies on the engagement, right? So if we don't have that, then how do we understand what the community wants?
Obviously, we have like a long-term vision, right? So programs are planned out, activities are planned out according to what people see, they want to see something 6 months or 10 months. But when something urgent comes up, that issue is taken care of right away. So we don't stand still with that, right? We don't hold back by saying, okay, everything else stops. But what that means is there's another team of people who will take that on hand and they'll deal with the situation. For example, I'll say when the New Zealand issue happened, right? Or when COVID happened, right? When the New Zealand issue happened, it was exactly at the time of our conference, right? We didn't pause the conference, right? And there's a lot of thoughts that were going on because it was exactly at the same time. But another group of people were brought in to be able to deal with this situation because there's a lot of people and lots of needs that need to be done at that moment in time. Or COVID came about the day COVID was announced, right? People are like, what's going to happen, right? And we have a lot of community WhatsApp groups. So back in the day, it would be like phones, right? Like people would be calling each other. But now it's like information gets spread so fast, positive and negative, right? And fear and anxiety, right? Just through these, not only our groups, through other places, right? So right away, a team was put together to be able to deal with those issues at that moment. Yeah.
You mentioned that it is a large organization. Give us some sort of a sense of, from an organizational perspective, how many people involved in the planning and the executing phase, or even how many members are part of it.
In Canada, they just because it's obviously the year end was done, right? So actively involved is 150 people, right? Like for example, we have Naseba, right? She's considered actively because she's actively involved, going to events, going to places, and so on and so forth, right? So there's 150 people that we have an account across Canada that work for North America.
Alhamdulillah, that's pretty amazing.
That includes our event day volunteers, though.
No, so these are planning people. These are people who are like their hands are in there and kind of like mix. Yeah.
Anybody who might be on staff, or is it all volunteer based?
100% volunteer. Alhamdulillah. We try to, if there's opportunities like the summer programs that the government offers, at times, we try to apply for those things. But the one pride that we have in being me is that we're 100% volunteer organization.
May Allah increase you in your efforts and your ajr. You mentioned that you guys started off as a conference, but obviously it has now grown to so much more. Just tell us a little bit about what that journey has been like, or even how the organization has evolved over the years.
The conference started off in a very successful way, right? I think in our first year, we even had male speakers on the stage. And eventually the feedback was, this is a women's conference, right? And so we had to really own that. And there's nothing wrong with having a male speaker on the stage at all. But it was clear that we need to amplify women's voices, right? And so that grew into this movement where we were able to feature and women in our community from all over the world, right? Necessarily that we're just bringing in Canadian speakers. But what we wanted to ensure is that we're highlighting a variety of different topics, and we're also being diverse in our speaker selection, right? So it's not enough to just have a female. We need to understand their backgrounds, where they've come from. Are they representing the community, right? And so once we were successful achieving in what the community was looking for in terms of a women's conference, then we started building, okay, what are the issues and topics that we really need to discuss? Like we couldn't have accomplished by getting everything right off the bat. Then we built a conference where, mashallah, I think we've had like maybe 4,000 or 5,000 women under one roof right here in Toronto, alhamdulillah, in the city's core of downtown. And after that, we realized, hey, a lot of these topics and issues that are coming up need to be addressed on an ongoing basis. And so, funnily enough, a lot of things that we were doing ad hoc to build a campaign and to build campaigns and marketing towards the conference and selling tickets and whatnot, it was actually a pilot for many of the programs that we see now happening on a weekly, monthly basis to become independent programs on their own, right? And this conference has inspired other cities to have conferences. And these programs that we call Being Me 365, because we're all year round, those programs have inspired other cities to feature those similar programs. So really, it's a chain effect, right? Like it was really just needed at the end of the day. It wasn't even anything anyone decided. It was really something that just happened because it was evolving that way.
And I think with COVID, it pushed us to even do further. Like we had a conference that was planned. It was supposed to be exactly when COVID came out, like 2-3 days or a week later and stuff. And we were forced to take that online, right? And we sat there not realizing what's going to happen. And all of a sudden you see 8.7K, 23K, like numbers that you never saw. We're like sitting there thinking, wow, how's thousands of people who are joining in, this conference. And because of COVID, everything that we were doing or we wanted to do got to be taken to the next level. And people in different cities and organizations, even we started a virtual Qiyam because people are like, we can't go to the masjid for Qiyam anymore. They started Quran classes, a whole new team of people who didn't know what Being Me was in the very beginning. They joined because they found their fulfillment during COVID, and now they've taken to that level, right? And we touch places on earth that we never thought we would touch. And like a lot of the people who are joining us, and even till this day, they're joining us from places where they don't even have masjids in their cities. And you don't even think that, I guess living in the GTA, you're like, how could that even be possible? Right? And where their only connection for knowledge, right?
But even areas where there's like top scholars, there are people joining us from different parts of the world. We get comments on our social media and direct messages and WhatsApp. We have a big WhatsApp community there, and people are messaging us from different parts of the world. And subhanAllah, I've picked up calls sometimes and, just asking general questions about Being Me, and alhamdulillah, it's a testament that, it's something that's going in the right direction, because the impact is reaching further than you even have wanted it to go, right? And I wanted to touch though on the point about the Ramadan point, if that's okay, because I think COVID was a big learning for us. Here we were gearing up to have, a big conference. We were ready to go. All the plans are almost finalized and we're selling our tickets. The theme is there. The speakers are finalized, ready to go. The tickets will be cut soon. And, suddenly it's like, nope, cannot happen. And this was a team that was not doing much online, had a very limited, online capacity. We had pages and whatnot just to like advertise, but we weren't really using them actively in that way to engage and really be on there and reaching out through stories and whatnot. Very conference related. And suddenly we just, there's maybe a handful of people, like 5 people literally just sat on their desks, at their computer and said, okay, here we go. We're doing a Ramadan revival and we're changing the entire scope of the conference. And we actually had a couple, I think 2 or 3 of the speakers that were committed to come internationally. They joined us online instead. And we all knew how to do Zoom, but how do you live broadcast a 6-hour conference using Zoom with transitions and editing and we had done a dry rehearsal just to make sure that we were matching each other's transitions between MCs and other speakers and featured guests and whatnot. And Alhamdulillah, it was, I have to say, to date, one of our most successful events. And completely unexpected because we just didn't plan, we plan and Allah plans, right? And it ended up being, it was like a motivator for us that no matter what your challenge is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to help you succeed if your intention is right. And we did not want to give up on the community. And we weren't even sure if people were going to log in and watch. Next thing you know, there's hundreds, or maybe even thousands of people watching. And alhamdulillah, it went very well. And it started a whole online platform, which obviously has its limitations as well, being that we need to be in the physical space. But it brought about a hybrid approach, alhamdulillah, that, it opened our eyes because the conference may be not accessible for everyone. Our local program may not be accessible to everyone. So
Right.
this presence being online and there is important in value as well.
Alhamdulillah, that's amazing to see the evolution and the fact that there's actual learning going on in the background there. But I'm guessing now you're back in person conferences, right? Or are you still doing online?
We're doing on both. We're
You're
online
doing
and
both
now
now,
we're-
mashallah. Yeah. One thing I want to ask about it in a little bit more detail. You made a comment about how some people are calling you from places where they are in Mississauga or the GTA, and there's a lot of scholars available in the area, but for some reason they're still reaching out to you guys to ask questions. So one thing you have obviously done successfully, or so it appears, is give yourself an impression of being open and welcoming, where people feel comfortable and coming and asking questions that they may not want to ask somewhere else. I'm just curious, what is that, or what has been the strategy or the philosophy behind the organization that makes it such a comforting place for people to come?
I think the important thing is to build trust and transparency, and to explain that, because we're 100% volunteer organization, that our goal is just to please Allah, right? And a lot of times, and once you let people know exactly what you are, then, Allah will bring it into their hearts to understand. And I sometimes think that sometimes people are still not used to the simplicity of life, that when you tell them this is what it is, they're like, there must be something more. And it's like, no, this is it. Like, we're telling you exactly, like, there's nothing for us to hide.
Alhamdulillah. No, that's absolutely amazing. Actually, that just gives me an idea. We have someone who, Nusaba, who's recently, gotten more active with Being Me. So I'm just going to ask her, what did you see in Being Me that made you want to be more involved?
Honestly, for me, it was the being able to engage with youth. Like, I mean, that's what I want to do as a career. Like, I'm pursuing a career in social work and especially in child welfare. And I thought that being able to actively, engage with young girls, especially young Muslim girls, and kind of be like maybe an older sister figure, or not even that, but just provide guidance and provide engagement with them was just so important to me. And I'm like, I want to be able to do that as much as humanly possible. And like, this organization is completely about that. Like, that's everything that you guys strive to do. And I feel like I just saw so much value in that on a personal level. So yeah, that's what really, really drew me to Being Me. And then I wanted to ask another question to you guys. Obviously you guys talked about how COVID caused you guys to expand so much and, reach so many corners of the world. Do you feel like that expansion and that reach, like, showed you guys more issues that you might wanted to prioritize within the community, like things that you maybe didn't know that you needed to focus on when it was more local, that now you felt like you needed to focus on?
Definitely across Canada. I would say internationally there was just interest to attend and have access to new speakers. I think that was the curiosity. But definitely across Canada, that is something that came up where we were having we had moms reach out, we had youth groups reach out that said, hey, like we really want to expand and grow as a community. We really want our community to come out and attend events and engage just as the way that Toronto does. And Being Me seems to do it successfully. And you guys are, I think the best thing about Being Me is that it's not out of reach. It keeps its grassroots values, right? We've grown, we've evolved, we've become one of the major organizations, across Canada, first within GT and across Canada. But I think it's still something that people can feel like I can reach out to a Being Me volunteer, and that's possible to do. It's not just filling out a form. It's not, we have those processes in place. Don't get me wrong. All of those things are there, but we are there on the ground connecting with people. We are there to walk them through a Being Me process or a Being Me event. And so the grassroots spirit is what's still alive. And we always, whenever we have our team meetings, team engagements, we always go back to our basics, right? We're here to please and serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost. And beyond that, we need to remember that we need to be here for each other. We need to support one another. And just because Being Me is doing something as an organization, it doesn't keep us separate from the community. Like if you're not part of the Being Me club, it doesn't matter. There's no club. We are in a club. Come join us and leave tomorrow and come back 6 months later, right? Like that's the beauty of it. It's a lifestyle. It's supporting an Islamic lifestyle. It's making the Muslim mission easier. It's helping women gain that perspective that they need. Sometimes it doesn't create identity, but it helps to amplify your voice and build character and find purpose within your identity.
During COVID, the one thing that we knew was that we need to do a lot, right? We were literally running 24 hours, meaning we still run 24 hours in the sense that IT and so on and so forth, but our team was running 24 hours because parents were dealing with people who don't have, the energy wasn't being burnt because they're at home. It was only kids. Beam is not a kids organization. There's there's a lot of adults, right? So we had a team of which I would work directly with. We started at 12 a.m. and we ended at 7 a.m. Then the next team would start, right? So we were literally working 24 hours. But going back to the issues, when we first started Beam Me, that's why it was started. How do we deal with the issues in our community that pertain to women, right? And we narrowed it down to try to deal with country by country. We had Being Me in different countries, right? Because the issues are gigantic saurus, right? But we can only chip it away little at a little, right? And that's what we try to do, right? Starting with ourselves, with our relationship with Allah, then going further into your relationship with your family and the community, right?
And just to add to that, one of the things that I think Nyla always reminds me when I'm big ideas and all this, or I'm a roadblock in her ideas is mostly what we do. But I think we're not a buzzword. As much as Being Me wants to be on trend and attract people and do the right thing from a marketing perspective, or just make sure we're following due process and being ethical. But at the end of the day, we have to just go for it. If our hands aren't in it, if we're not being knee deep into what needs to be done, then we might as well just back away from all of this work, right? So just being initiators. And at one point we were doing so many programmings, people were like, what's your actual focus, right?
Right.
And we built this, and we do that now. Alhamdulillah, we have our strategy sessions, we have our overall management meetings and team meetings and coordinator meetings and debriefs and whatnot. We have that focus. But if we didn't have that time and space to just experiment and just do it, you have an idea. We had an experience. We had a movement Being Me. It's you have an idea, okay, go do it.
Right. Right. So let me ask some more details about that, because Sister Nyla mentioned this comment about how the issues are. She invented a brand new word, gigantosaurus. I love it. Okay, it's great. So let's call it a two-part question. Question number one: you mentioned about how you guys have had meetings now, and you've talked about focus. So, what is your focus?
So we have created different streams with different teams. So basically, we have people development, which focuses on individual development, group development, youth development. It can be for adults or youth, but essentially it's there to help for character building, for professional development, and gaining leadership skills. Sorry, that was the word I needed to bring up. So there's a lot of leadership development in that stream. We have the faith stream that is essentially our Tarbiyah program, right? So we may have Halakha program, spiritual retreat. There's different programs that happen under that stream. That's all faith-based. And the faith is our core. We say the faith stream is the core of being me, because at the end of the day, we're here to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So that's close to our heart dream, because it's where we remember after all the work, this is why we do it, right? We have our community connect stream, so you'll get programs such as coffee therapy. You'll get our WhatsApp community groups that are there for meetups and engaging within the community itself. Youth Connect, which is great because these are programs that are youth led. So they're created, organized, and executed by our youth. And they have adult supervisors that help them, mentor them, but ultimately it's youth-led programming. So by breaking it up into streams, we were able to focus our programs and make sure we're achieving the targets that we need for all of those streams. And ideally have a space for everyone, because what we didn't want to do was eliminate our programs, right? We've had to refine them. We've had to maybe reduce a number of them, but we haven't really eliminated any programs per se, in the sense that if we eliminate a program, another program is covering that objective.
Right. Amazing.
Does that help answer the
Oh no, it totally does. And I think Sister Nyla wants to say something. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, one of our biggest focus, like that's the program portion is to develop people, right? People development. We're okay if you're with Being Me, you learn skills and you take it off to somewhere else, right? We want to build people's portfolios, right? Like, for example, we'll take the time to develop a person, like one of our senior designers, right? She started off with us when she was, I think, like 16 years old, and we taught her how to design and so on and so forth, and that she was able to make her own company, right? We've taught a lot of people how to present, that they became bigger and better and very well-known speakers now, right? We've taught people how to do certain things, and they took it to other organizations, right? And the whole point of that is because we just want to be the learning tool, like, the learning stepping stone for them to be able to fulfill their vision. So we've never really lost anybody. It's more that they went ahead of us and they went to make bigger and better things. So I think there's that to us is like number one key. How do we develop you as a person to be able to serve your end goal, to be able to get to Jannah?
That's why we have to also refocus our mission statement, right? We're here to connect in faith to ignite change. And from a personal level, I think, I joke around. I think I joined in my second or third year of university, somewhere around there. But really personally for me, I feel like I grew up with Being Me. I had already reached my young adult life, but really honestly, how did I develop into a mature Muslimah that was able to come out of my shell?
Right.
Because Being Me was it, right? I have my work experience. I'm part of this. What's hilarious is I'm part of this like huge family, you know? And alhamdulillah, like a lot of people recognize me because of that family, because of the family that I come from. But ultimately, like, what am I taking with me to my hereafter? And that's an important reminder that we have in being me, that what does this work for? We all want to go to Jannah. That's really the end goal,
That's
right?
really the end goal. Yeah.
And we want to go together. And we want to go together. So, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So you guys have obviously been working with a lot of women, girls, young girls, people of all ages. Let's talk about the young girls. Let's look at Nasaba as an example, or even younger if you'd like. I'm gonna put on my old uncle hat. Aajkal ke bache, these kids these days, all of that. From your perspective of having engaged with young people, women, on a day-to-day basis for a long time, what is your level of optimism, or is there a level of concern about the future of the Ummah, or future of girls and where they're headed?
You have to have both. It should never stop. You should always be concerned, and you should always be optimistic, right? You're concerned because the issues are there, taboo or not. If we're not talking about what's happening as a community, we're not going to address them. And it's important to always be there. The problems are never going to stop. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test whom He loves. And our youth are a part of that, right? Our children are a part of that. And it doesn't stop when you become an adult. Those tests just become stronger, and you're more aware, you're hyper aware, in fact, of those tests, right? And in this moving world with social media and peer pressure and, all the different issues going on, we have a lot of youth struggling with their identity and faith. And this is important that we're there and ready to talk about it, but optimistic as well, because even though there's overwhelming issues going on right now, and maybe we don't even know how to talk about it sometimes, we have to be optimistic that we're going to get through, right? That is a core of our faith. And so if we're not able to, say as an organization, we will always be there to empower our community, then, we've lost our mission statement. We've lost our values, right? We're not there to be anything except a name, and we're not interested in.
No, that's absolutely amazing, because so just from seeing the children, right? Like me and my wife, we joke all the time about how as soon as we became parents, we've lived on a scale of freak out. We're either less freaked out or we're a lot freaked out, but we've never been outside of that zone ever. However, when I look at, well, heck, my children, even though they're here, they're not allowed to, hear any compliments. When I look at my children or, children around me, yes, there are moments in their lives where you're like, oh my God, my kids, what's going to happen? They're not doing this. So they're, they start from the easy stuff, like they start walking late or talking late, or to how they're doing in school, or how engaged they are in Islamic school, or how regularly they're praying. We've been, various stages of worry over the years. And as I see them maturing, like, oh, maybe I didn't need to worry that much, just a little bit of patience, and alhamdulillah, they're figuring it out, part on their own, but part, with guidance. So I'm really glad that organizations like yours are around to provide some of that guidance, and always with the support of parents as well. I'll come back to the parents piece in just a moment. Going back to Sister Nyla's comment about the issues are gigantorous or something like that. If there was one issue that really makes you want to scream about why is this not being talked about more often, or why are we the only ones, or, why, or any of those the versions of that same question, what would that be? What really jumps out at you?
I would say the one thing that jumps out at me that I think goes across the board is the trust in Allah, right? That Qadr exists, in the sense, like everything you just said, why does my kid speak late, or why doesn't, one thing after another. We are in a stage of, I guess, civilization now that knowledge is very easily accessible. right? The deen, whether it's for the deen or the dunya, it's at our fingertips now, right? The only thing that's not there is, I guess, the belief in the unseen, right? Knowing that, there is a greater purpose to things, or there's a reason behind things. And some things are just going to happen and we just don't have a hand on it, right? But when you have that belief that, Allah's the best of planners, things lift off of your shoulder, right? Like Abdullah Idris always says, right? He says that, you do your part. Allah tells us you follow the Quran, you follow the Sunnahs, you follow the Hadith, and so on and so forth. And then, the rest is up to Allah, how He's going to do it. That's what I see.
Alhamdulillah. Sister Faria, do you have any comment on that?
I mean, as she was speaking, a thought came to mind was, even as a team, right, who's behind this organization that's doing the legwork, whether at the forefront or behind the scenes, we all have our struggles. We're all going through something. There's no one that can say they haven't really been through an experience, right? And those experiences are relative, but at the end of the day, I guess what grows our team is that despite the challenges, you have something good to believe in, right?
Right.
And something that connects you back to your core values, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there as your creator. He's there as your Lord, and He's there to support you in the journeys that you are taking. And I think this is definitely that, very important when Nyla says is that we have lost our trust in Qadr, that things
Right.
are meant to be, and be it that we need to pull together. Like even when we're making our decisions, we have to incorporate process of shura. We have to make istikhara. We have
Right.
to bring dua, an element of dua in it. None of our programs, I mean, alhamdulillah, the majority of our programs have always made sure to include an opening dua and a closing dua. That's a program requirement. If it has not happened, we're debriefing why it didn't happen, why that person wasn't there to
Yes.
do it. And if your reciter didn't show up that day, why didn't you say it, right? And
I can vouch that happened at the skating rink this morning.
there you go.
Okay, I got you. I saw that happen. Good job. So I remember having this conversation many years ago. Nisaba must have been like grade 6 or 7 at that time. And I would talk to her. I would talk to some of her friends. And one after that, another, they kept saying, oh, I have social anxiety. Oh, I have social anxiety. And I used to make a joke about social anxiety is a genuine mental illness. Not everyone can have social anxiety all the time. And then the conversation evolved over the years, and there was understandings that I learned more about it, and we had conversations. Well, if you have ingredients that contribute to social anxiety, and if everybody's exposed to those ingredients, well, yeah, everybody's going to have that same problem. So maybe it is possible, right? So there's obviously, from that perspective, I know there's a lot of struggle. Heck, in everybody. It's not just a girl issue. It's it's not just a women's issue. It's across the board for women. Obviously, balancing career and family and independence. A lot of those things. Education. Actually aspiring to build careers and focus on that side of things as well. So there's a lot of conversations to be had that focus on women's issues that are sometimes individual to them. Sometimes they affect everybody. But from your perspective, that's your mandate to talk to women or young women about those issues. Do you see any patterns in the kinds of issues that young women nowadays are presenting that maybe did not present a few years ago? Or I'm just curious if you've noticed any patterns of that nature.
To go off of what you're saying, I think when women or youth, right, when they're initially coming to us, they are looking for that connection piece. Just like touching on what you have already said yourself, regardless of XYZ issue, it's that connection piece that they're looking for, that
Right.
they're not alone in this, right? We are
Right.
not alone. And then being me brings in that tarbiyah portion. Hey, we are here as sisters. We're united together, but we're united together here in faith. To build our taqwa, to build our belief in our iman. And we're here to understand that the resources are there. If you
Right.
need help, the resources are there. guess what? We know so-and-so organization does this. We know so-and-so organization does that. If you need more than what the organization is offering you, that's not the end. We will help you stay connected because alhamdulillah, even the organizations are connected, right? At the end of the day. So how do these organizations succeed? Because people are looking for meaning. They're looking for purpose. They want to connect, right? Ultimately, that's for me personally, that's where it stems from. But then, yeah, you get deeper into issues, self-esteem. We have social media, peer pressure issues. We have parents coming to us where they're overwhelmed. They are just burnt out simply, right? Then you have the sisters who are struggling to get married or recently been through a divorce and now going through a life change or don't know how to move forward because society is telling them they have to get married or be
Right.
of some sort of status, right? And then you have a set of women who have done it all, who've done everything the society has told them to do, and yet there's a void, right? So if you ask me to touch on what are our most important topics that come up, I mean, that varies on
This is long, yeah.
day to day. I would say.
Exactly, right? It changes every day, and it
It's
is a
all
moving
walks
target.
of life, brother Karam. It's all
Yeah.
walks. Yeah.
My God. Yeah, no. And alhamdulillah, we're glad to see that somebody's putting effort towards that. So let's talk about the role of parents a little bit. So obviously what you guys are doing, you're there to support the young women in whatever guidance that they may need. You're open, they feel welcome to come talk to you. However, it can never be a one-sided discussion. Parents, schools, teachers, mentors, they all play a very significant role. And without parental involvement, at the end of the day, nothing really gets done. That's probably the one lesson I learned as a parent. What role do you think parents need to play to ensure that their children engage with these kinds of initiatives and they are more open to them? And what kind of support would you want parents to provide you and those children, maybe even more than they are right now?
So, for parents, I think what's hard is that we know that your first exposure to tarbiyah is in the household. Then parents realize, okay, we need to supplement, we need to put them out in the world, they need to have exposure. And at the end of the day, being me is not here to parent your child or to, raise them, but it's here as a means of support because being a parent, it's hard work. I know the parent. I have a lot of nieces and nephews. Their work. And I'm not even their parent, right? The thing about you and I take work.
Yes,
Right?
I believe you.
My mom,
I feel like
what?
yeah, I feel like half of growing up was honestly just like realizing that my parents were right about everything and that I was such an annoying child. Like that was like I had like a realization at some point where I was like, oh my God.
All right, podcast
I
over.
sucked.
Now I don't
Like,
need to do this. My missions have been achieved. Podcast over. No.
Yeah, like it's just like, oh, wait a second. I should have listened to every single thing that they ever said.
There you go. There you go. I mean, that's part of it, right? Like, and it's annoying because it is annoying because now that I'm grown up and I'm in the real world and I'm responsible for myself, I'm like, oh, there's that thing my mom said I should have done and I didn't do. But to go back to the original point, you have to be open-minded as a parent to just get out there. You don't have to have all the answers, but to really just expose your family and be able to step out of your shell and just get out there, even if you're at home, right? Like, are you putting on a lecture in the background? Are you turning on a program that would interest your child? Are you talking about those topics afterwards? I think what I love about seeing the parent-child relationship and being me is that the recurring parents that I see that they're involved just as much as their children are involved. They're coming to our events separately. Their children are going to events separately, and then they're also attending our family program, right? And so that's something you want to see because you don't want to just. I think that's the beauty of being me is that it's not just for the child. The parent has programs available too, and they can come together at one of our galas or one of our iftars or whatever the program, summer picnic we do for families, they can come together, right? So that's great because then you can create the community for everyone, even dads at the summer picnic, right? Which helps. I think it helps when they're able to bridge that gap and say, like, what did you do at the Being Me program you went to? What did you talk about? It's all about opening that a channel of communication.
I'll just add a follow-up question. You mentioned earlier that sometimes you have like kids who come in and they're like, oh yeah, like when my mom told me about this, I didn't even want to go. Like I was like forced to be there, but then by the end it was fun. How ideally do you think parents should like tell their children about your programs? Like how would you want them to kind of like brief them about it to kind of make them feel like, oh, like, oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting.
I'll go back to that connection piece. I actually was just at the masjid yesterday, and one of the parents was there with her daughter, and she signed up for a leaders in training program, and she said, oh, she's a little bit nervous because she's saying she doesn't really want to go. She doesn't know anyone. She doesn't even know how it works. Is it even going to be interesting and fun? And he said, well, for me personally, it's something to try new. And it's there to put yourself out there in a safe space, because no one's just going to push you and say, hey, present a debate on blah, blah, blah topic, right? Like you're being supported, there's hands to hold, and you don't have to worry about being in the spotlight. If you want to be in the spotlight, there's opportunities. But if you just want to be there with the group and hear what the group has to say, then that is available too, right? So, try it out. If you don't like it, and this is what I literally said this to her, if you don't like it, tell the team. Tell them that it sucks, that you hated your whole time there. It was so boring. Let them know, because it's their responsibility to make it better.
That's very brave to open yourself up like that. That's a very risky move.
But I hope it takes you seriously, right? Because everything in life sucks. You need feedback in order to improve.
It's important two things, like one, that learn, right? Whether it's a parent, a child, a youth, a not parent, like our life is not about a parent and teaching children, right? As believers, you all want to learn, right? And the second thing is, you want to also make sure you do the right thing, right? And one thing, and it was so interesting because we used to go through, like, we all go through leadership training and parenting training and teaching training, depending on your profession, you go into like PMP or whatever, right? Training. And one thing, I remember years ago, Sound Vision was doing a training. This is like, I think like, we're in university. And Brother Umar Zia, may Allah have mercy upon him, he said at that time, he said like, you have to push people to do good, right? Particularly for us, because we're in university, right? He said your front of your brain is going to say, you can do this. And the back of your brain is saying that maybe I need to hear the peers, the people around me, to see if it's the right thing. So this is something I always said, right? And I would always say this in everything. And it's so funny because now, recently, like I think a year or two ago, he did a training at MNN Masjid, and he said the exact same thing. And this time my son Zayd heard it, and he goes, I don't ask him ever, how was it? I'm like, I'm going to take you somewhere, whether you like it or not. You're going to go, you're going to hear it. Because at the end of the day, we're not here to hear what people like. We're here to figure out the tools and method for us to go to Jannah. That's right. So he said to me on the car after a while, he doesn't usually tell me anything. He goes, yeah. So he said exactly what you said. You sent me here because you taught him, right? He goes, the front is going to tell me that I know what I'm doing. The back of my brain says I need to listen to my mom. I started laughing because I'm like, that's exactly what he told us, right? Years ago. But the reason I bring this up is because there isn't any words that you can convince a person. We're not here to convince people, right? We're just here to show you and say, this door is open, this door is open, and this door is open, right? And as any sort of guardian, whether you're a teacher, a leader, or whatever, you need to pick them up and say, just try that door. And like Faria said, if that door doesn't work, we're okay with that. Go to another door. The beauty of our society now, mashallah, is that there's many organizations out there all doing the same sorts of things. And if you are open, one of them will take you or one of them will appeal to you. You just have to go into it. It doesn't really matter where. We just want to support everybody. And we say this to the masjids in the community all the time. Like even today, we're talking to a lot of masjids and stuff. We're here just to support the programs that you're doing. And we're opening the doors and providing something different. So your people, your following, will feel a fulfillment of going into your masjid, knowing that they have everything that they require, right? So whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. It's more you need to do something in order to tell Allah you did your 100%.
You know what? I'm gonna add something here. One time, someone came up to me. Well, we were having a conversation, and I said, "Oh, are you gonna come to the Being Me conference?" And the reason I'm sharing this is just to highlight what the issue is right? He said, "Are you gonna attend the Being Me conference? It's on this date. You know, would love it if you came." And the response was literally, "Been there, done that."
Whoa, that's gotta hurt.
And it's an underlying tone out there. Been there and done that, you know. Al-Maghrib came, Al-Kauthar came, you know, and, you know, you had so many different programs that have been established in the GTA, right? Mashallah, Being Me has done conferences for several years, but if we keep that attitude, been there, done that, we're going nowhere. Because at the end of the day, the consistency, showing up and being there every day as an organization, it matters. But at the same time, it also matters that people are going and attending and providing feedback. And if you don't like the system, if you don't like the setup, participate, engage, be there, get involved. But if we're going to not, walk the talk, then really we failed as a community, right? Because we have so much to say, but then we don't want to put action towards it. However, I will say that the amount of work that is being done in the community, whether that's within Being Me and outside of it, is tremendous.
Alhamdulillah, yes it
And
is.
it's not being highlighted the way that it should be.
Agreed.
I think
Agreed.
Bolivia is an example, great example of that.
Inna
Like
lillahi
the
wa
amount
inna
of people
ilaihi
at his janazah, subhanallah, right? Like may Allah grant him the highest
That was a day.
if you knew him, then you understood that scale. If you kind of knew him, then you were like, wow, this is impressive. But it's not there. Like it wasn't there. The reason for the janaza is not there to make a statement about Omar Zia. It's for us to think, what's the legacy that we're leaving behind, right? What is our legacy at the end of the day? Been there, done that doesn't create legacies.
What I think is important, Brother Karam also, you know, he lived in different parts of the world, right? You know, is I think because I lived in different areas, right, within Canada, that when I came back to the GTA, it just made me even more firm. Just attend everything, anything, doesn't matter what it is, right? And I don't know if you remember Brother Ali. He was one of the ISNA. He used to do ISNA Halakha, and he would say that, you know, just putting your foot into the masjid build something in the heavens. It doesn't matter. I really don't care what it is. If we're going to talk about Allah, I'm going to do everything possible if I'm free, if I'm not another event. And just because, why? Because you don't know which one of your deeds is going to be weighed the heavier one, right? And I think it's really great. And you know, the one thing they talk about Islam, like how the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam talked about, there's two things that we've had like hardship with, right? From the very beginning of our deen. One is volunteers, quote unquote, right? Volunteers, and one was money. But why are we willing to do this, or why has the deen continued on? It's because the religion is true, right? So if we are not willing to support the people after us, and this is what's really important. We're having a conference meeting, right? Inshallah, we're going to bring back the conference to Toronto in 2025. The more I say it, the more the angels will say Ameen.
Ameen.
Right?
Ameen. Yeah. Just keep saying it over and over again.
But the one thing we've decided, right, is it has to be led by the youth, right? And when I say it's not like a 28-year-old, right? We're not defining youth of 40, where we're talking about a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 18-year-old. We know there's going to be mistakes. We're okay with that. Why? Because those are the people who are going to carry on the deen. If we hold and have like, a 60-year-old run the conference, then I know they have experience. It's a lot safer having someone who's older because they already been through everything. They know how to do things ins and out, right? But we haven't done our due justice of like what our mentors and our teachers did for us, where they put it in our hands and said, do this, right? We have to do it, and we're willing for mistakes, right? So obviously we'll be there to guide it, but we have to make it happen, right? So I think it's really important, like whatever is happening anywhere, just go there, figure it out, and encourage, like, especially when the younger people are doing it, be the first one there and be the positive voices, because we had a conversation yesterday at another meeting, and they're saying how the negative voices has become a regular thing. Why? Because the only way conversations go through is if I was to say, complain. If I say, how's everything? I say, alhamdulillah. That's it, right? But if I say, it's okay, you know, the venue could have been nicer. It'd be like, oh yeah. And then another conversation, I went to this event, the conversation continues up, but it's okay to say alhamdulillah. It's okay to know mistakes are made, right?
Alhamdulillah, that's absolutely amazing. I'm sure you guys have already answered this question like a gazillion different ways, but I'm going to ask it again just to give you a chance to maybe put it sort of in one place. What do you hope Being Me will look like, let's say 5 or 10 years from now?
It's going to be the largest women's organization around the world. I don't know. What do you want me to say?
well, yeah, we're not in a consulting session trying to write your vision statement.
No, yeah. No, for me personally, I want to answer this from a personal lens. What I said before, if it keeps its grassroots tone, always go back to your basics, remind yourself where you came from, your core. That's what has kept me here Being Me, because that's my personal belief, that's my personal value, and it aligns to an Islamic value, right? Alhamdulillah. So I think that's very important. That has what's kept Being Me at the forefront, and introducing new programs and bringing in topics that matter to people, being a voice of change. Being Me is a voice of change, because we're there to humble ourselves and realize that these issues are bigger than us. We can't get to them all at once. We have to break it down. We have to go little by little. And all that matters is that we show up. And we do things with ihsan. We do things with our adab and akhlaq. We're there with our deen in our hand. And we're there with empathy, compassion, support, fulfillment. We're there with kindness. We're there with generosity. I mean, the level of love that we have to keep up in the organization itself, that's what's going to carry it forward, because we want our volunteers, we want our team to connect and believe in the work that they're doing and understand that this is what's going to carry us forward to our abode in the akhirah, right? So, I mean, the grassroots part is what I would love to see carry forward. What we want to see is our programs to grow, to continue addressing the topics and challenges at hand, for our youth to be further involved, for the community to invest in us, for the business community to see us as, a core of the community where they're seeing that this organization is doing the work that the community needs. Because without support and involvement from business community, parent community, you name it, right? Then we will always have a limit to how much we can grow, right? And so I hope to see a change in that moving forward, that we're able to garner a lot more of those external voices that help us evolve as an organization. We've done tremendous work up to now, but we can do so much more, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, that's truly inspiring. Sister Naila, do you have anything to add?
No, I just think it's really important that when you say, what do we want to see in 5, 10 years from now, would be that we've been able to satisfy what a person needs to fulfill what they need in order to stand from Allah. And I think that is going to be hard, right? But we have so many organizations out there right now that if we were able to work with them or support them, and we work to collaborate, and everybody takes a part and piece of it, then we can really become something really great. and make things happen for people.
That's amazing. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. Wow. That was so much fun. That was a great conversation. I really, thank you so much for both of you today, Sister Naila and Sister Faria. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you both. Your insights, the impact that you've had through your work for Being Me, alhamdulillah, is truly inspiring. Jazakallah khair, everyone else, for tuning in to the episode. Well, inshallah, you will tune into the episode. We will thoroughly appreciate it. If you'd like to learn more about Being Me, get involved, or support their initiatives, be sure to check out their website and social media channels. And always, if you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to share it with your family and friends. And if I may, I have a special request. Please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. We're still very new and we're very interested to know what you like and, more importantly, don't like. The best way to do that is, inshallah, for you to tell us. Oh Allah, we thank you for allowing us to come together in this meaningful conversation. Forgive us for any shortcomings and accept from us the good that we have shared. Strengthen our faith and grant us the ability to act on what we have learned. Oh Allah, accept this effort from us and make it a means of goodness. Keep us steadfast on the straight path and unite our hearts in love and understanding. Ameen. Until next time, my name is Khurram Rashid, reminding you to stay curious, stay connected, and stay inspired. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.